One organization that has been pressing hard for an investment in underprivileged communities and was behind Mayor Garcetti's recent decision to seek $250 million in funding for programs serving those neighborhoods was the Advancement Project, a nonprofit founded by civil rights attorney Connie, who has been for years an advocate of reform within the LAPD. Ms. Rice, thank you for taking the time. Let me ask you the same question that we've asked throughout this program. So many thought that there had been so many major reforms to the LAPD that we had made progress. Were those reforms meaningless?
It wasn't meaningless. It just wasn't enough. It wasn't to scale, and the people don't feel it. If you're in police world, the changes that have been made are seismic. You now have accountability. They accept the police commission. They have inspectors general, their term limits. We did all kinds of stuff to the structural stuff, Conan. What didn't happen is police culture didn't change. Police leadership has changed. You can see chiefs kneeling. You can see police unions actually rejecting the validity of this videotape. But people on the ground don't feel it, not in the poor communities. In our neighborhoods, Conan, we have safety. In poor neighborhoods, they get suppression, mass incarceration, and they've had enough. So there was nothing that was, yes, we've had 3 progressive chiefs. That's important. The leadership of policing in the major cities has changed. Not every city, but most of them. That's taken 25 years. We are not where we were. This is not your grandfather's LAPD. And at the top, the leadership has changed its eye on what it should be doing. But Conan, you can't change the culture if we're still telling cops below the 10, make sure it's containment suppression. In neighborhoods like mine, people like me get safety. Those folks get containment suppression and every other man going to prison. And the worst of it is you can fix the policing. Let's say we fix the policing. The McCone Commission told us you have to do 2 things. You have to end the spiral of despair. What have we done? We've deepened that spiral. Fewer jobs, the opportunities are even less. We've spent 40 years shoveling money up to the 1% and taking the safety net and shredding it, defunding the agencies that help people climb the ladder of upward mobility. And we've been taking the rungs out of the ladder. We've just been stupid and regressive. So you can work on police all you want, but as long as their mission is mass incarceration, you're going to get what we see today.
So this effort doesn't take place in a vacuum. You have a global pandemic, you have an economic recession, maybe a depression, and now a social upheaval, the likes of which we haven't seen in decades.
You're right. There's a pandemic of COVID. There's also an endemic epidemic of destitution and poverty that has just gotten worse. Not just gotten worse, it's going to 1929 levels. So you are absolutely right. And you can't do Marie Kondo tinkering. You've got to have FDR transformative, paradigm-changing response. And right now, you've got the county and the city not even talking to one another, and you've got budgets that make no sense. So we have to have a pandemic, post-riot, emergency, counter-collapse survival strategy. And it's got to be big. And I don't see anybody talking about the scale of this problem and meeting this problem. Not this just one problem, as you say, it's a convergence of like 1918 flu with the 1929 depression and the 1968 uprisings. It's more than a triple whammy, Conan. And the riots against the videos are a signal. They are a symptom of what you've indicated and what I agree with, which is we're looking at mass extinction level threat here. And we've got to have people who are smart enough to understand it can't be, not only can it not be business as usual, we have to completely change how government reacts to this kind of triple threat.
Let me ask you, to those who believe that there will always be a rogue officer, and so what you were asking for are police standards that frankly are impossible to achieve.
It's absolutely wrong. I vigorously disagree and respectfully disagree. I'm not asking for perfection. I'm asking for what's already been done. This isn't pie in the sky. We've done this in LA with the Community Safety Partnership Police. They don't get promoted for making arrests. When they walk into the Jordan Downs gym, they get a standing ovation from housing project residents. These are cops who help families and communities create safe environments in gang zones. And they do it with the gangsters, gang intervention, multi-agency, multidisciplinary. It's a team wraparound safety policing. It is the opposite of gladiator mass incarceration policing. We have done it. We've documented it. UCLA has just evaluated it. So it's not pie in the sky. It's a matter of will. You're right there. We don't have the political will because it's hard to change the bones and the DNA of a culture. But that's what it's going to require. And it's not just police who have to change. Police have done more work to change than our political system has. We've got a white nationalist regime in Washington that is dedicated to destroying the agencies we need to survive the pandemic. They dismantled the pandemic defense system, and they're going after everything in our safety net. And if people don't understand, we have one chance in November to put a stop to the destruction of the government institutions we need to operate, then we are lost. It is not too late. This is not about perfection. This is about competence and understanding the threat that we face. And no, I don't see it at the city level. I don't see it at the county level. And they don't just need to up their game. They need to get a new game. And it's got to be one of coordination and competence. They need to diagnose the problem. Right now, they're sending brain cancer patients to the hairdresser.
Connie Rice, civil rights attorney, co-director and founder of the Advancement Project in California. Thank you for taking the time.
You too, Conan. Take care.
We'll have some final comments after this.